just can't stop thinking about how much I hate the Lorax 2012 film. Hollywood had to take it and massage their shit into it. Because it's a children's film doesn't mean it needs to be dumb or to miss these important points. It could have been so great, and it just can't get it out of my brain. From what I remember, the storybook, the children's book of the Lorax came out in 1971. And then the year after came the TV film adaptation, like this cartoon film. It was really cool, really, really well done. And I loved it as a kid growing up. And then in 2012 came out this new adaptation of the Lorax that was just garbage. I mean, it was really bad. Like, it had so much potential to be a new sort of recreation of the original story, but it wasn't. So Dr. Seuss wrote the Lorax as a response to his concerns about climate change and the world's growing concerns about climate change. It was this perfect story to very gently teach young people about how if we don't take action, these issues in the environment can grow over time. In the children's book, The Lorax, the Once-ler is this sort of unseen, mysterious character that you don't know their gender or their age or anything like that. And it's good because it creates this impression that the Once-ler could be any of us at any point in our lives, and that was sort of the impact that Dr. Seuss was trying to have with the Once-ler character in the original book. In the 2012 film, the Once-ler is this sort of like a hipster or like a musician or like, I guess, an artist inventor type. And the problem with that is they built this very specific character that then teaches audiences, in particular children, that this type of person in your life is a bad person, or this type of person makes bad choices. And it just ruins the whole point of the Once-ler being this person that could be any of us and teaches us to hold ourselves accountable no matter who we are. And with the Once-ler, it's so important to have a clear concept of what greed is, right? Like, what does greed mean to me? Greed means wanting more or way more than what you have. To be happy, we just need to be satisfied with what we have. And when you're greedy, it's just when you want more. And especially I think it's like a feeling of wanting more for no reason and not even really knowing why. And in the original Dr. Seuss book, to me, that's what greed was, and that's kind of what the Once-ler represented. Yeah, I mean, I've been greedy throughout my life, and I think, at least speaking for me, it's like you manage greed, right? Like it's a human condition. And I think there's probably some sort of chemical survival element to it as a human, that you have a desire to have more and grow. However, we also have the ability to manage those feelings that are connected to greed of dissatisfaction. And I think a lot of times when you're depressed, like there were some moments in my life where I was really sad, and I thought that having more, a bigger car or a bigger house or more money would make me happy. And then you know what? There was times where I finally got those things and I wasn't happier. I just wanted more. You know, I learned a big lesson in greed earlier on in life with material things, and that they didn't make me happier the more I had. It was really about being happy with what I did have and cherishing what I did have. When I think about someone else's greed affecting my life negatively, I think about a relationship I was in once. I dated someone once that was a real money hungry person, and they always wanted me to be making more money, to be working harder, to be taking more jobs, to be adding extra jobs, to sell the tractor, sell that cow, you know. And for a while I believed them because I loved this person, and eventually we broke up, and right after we broke up, I realized that I was doing it out of love for that person, but the money and the extra things didn't make me any happier, and suddenly that person was gone. I had all this extra stuff. I didn't need the money, and I wasn't happier, you know, and I eventually found my way back. But yeah, there was times when I was really affected by other people being greedy for me, I guess. I was on the internet and I found that they had taken out this great song called Biggering, and it was perfect because it was like they used the word biggering in the original story, and it was such a cool way of telling us the negative impacts of greed and wanting more. And I even liked how the lyrics in this song that they cut out kept the Once-ler kind of ambiguous, like in the original storybook. It was such a bummer that they took that song out and replaced it with something completely different. Just the song that they replaced it with just felt like this sort of weird smoke and mirrors, I don't know. The original song made me feel more emotionally connected. You know, when the 2012 movie came out, I got really excited and I was hoping that it'd make me feel the same way at a different chapter in my life. To be honest, that song they took out made me feel that way. It made me feel charged up to make a difference. I'm guessing they took it out because they wanted to put more focus on like a character and make it more cutesy and more Hollywood, and like, you know, the idea of the biggering was, you know, pretty negative towards industrialization and corporations, and maybe the sponsors of the film didn't like that. The new song that they put in kind of made becoming a corporate bigwig look kind of cool. Like, to be honest, you saw this guy become like kind of cool, and I think that's problematic. Like, it's mixed messaging. Like, I think my 4-year-old niece would watch this film and be very confused. I'm not saying it has to be doomsday and like super depressing, but I felt like the song that they took out was a good balance, just like the original story. The messaging in the 2012 Lorax film is so murky and weird and confusing, and clearly funded by massive corporate sponsors.
If you care about the environment, HP's got a lot for you to love.
I mean, like, there's ads interlaced around the film for cars that aren't actually even fuel efficient, and poorly constructed and so dissociated from the original story, and it just really frustrates me. They couldn't take something so good and just adapt it to our current times, and instead they had to really let their sponsors lead the storytelling, it seems. So no, I don't think the messaging in the story is super clear. I think there's something really interesting about the simplicity and the effectiveness of Dr. Seuss's storytelling. From what I notice with my nieces and nephews, they really actually connect with the message better, and they do like it. And I think at first they were more comfortable with the new film and felt like, you know, because it was what they were used to. But then they got a taste of the 1972 film, and that's the one they choose to watch over and over again. And personally for me, I definitely think the original film was way better at telling the story in an emotionally connected way. The original film and storybook ended on a note of, it's up to you. Like, it's your responsibility. You have the seed, you have the power, you have the ability to make a difference. Throughout human history, no matter what, there will always be a percentage of the population of kids that will resonate with that. And I don't think it's a problem to tell the, you know, sad stuff and then, you know, talk about how you have this power in the end. I think that's a great format of storytelling for kids, to show them that, look, these are the consequences. This is what can go wrong, because that's how you get people to emotionally connect. Environmental issues are generally never too exciting in the sense of, you know, they're always going to be sad. We're talking about Earth trauma. And The way you get people to care, though, is you show that no matter what, you can't escape this. Like, you're on this earth for your life. Like, you better listen up. And so I think there's a poetic way, and I think that's what Dr. Seuss was really good at, was sort of spoon-feeding you the sad stuff, but in a way that was so poetic and so visually fascinating. You watch that original TV film and it's just so stunning and enthralling. And he was so good at connecting you, no matter what age you were, to the story, to the problem. In the 2012 film, I just felt like they cheated, like they copped out, like they took the easy route out, which was not really addressing the problem, not really being effective in the messaging, not really making a clear call to action, and just sort of skirting around the issue by using this like goofy character as an example of one specific type of person that could be a problem, but not really connecting to what it originally was all about. So the Once-ler has such a different role between the 2012 film and the original story. In particular, it's the ending of the films that are so different. In the 2012 film, in the end, the Lorax comes back to the Once-ler after the Once-ler has caused all this destruction and damage and really just decimated everything. The Lorax comes back and it's like they're buddy-buddy again. There's no real like consequences for the Once-ler. It's like an opportunity where the Lorax could have been like, oh, I'm back, I'll be your friend, don't worry. However, this is what you're going to need to do. You're going to change your ways, change your habits. It was just such a teachable moment in the new film that could have occurred that completely didn't. Of course, in the original story, because the Once-ler took everything from the Lorax, took his land, took his friends, took his habitat, the Lorax is gone forever. Why would they come back? You've betrayed them and you've taken everything from them. It's far more realistic in the original story what would happen, and I think it's a far more effective message to the audience about the reality of the world. So greenwashing is when corporations in particular, organizations, whatever, use environmental propaganda or imaging to make an audience believe that they are environmentally conscious. And the reality is they're not. So, there's tons of examples of greenwashing in products that we use every day or businesses we go to every day, like the placeholder eco-friendly. Like, you need to actually be asking questions about, specific details, like, is this actually fuel efficient? Is this actually sustainably sourced, and why and how? If you don't want to be a victim of greenwashing, you need to ask those questions or figure out the certification organizations that you can trust. And in this film, the Lorax 2012 version, there's just so much greenwashing going on. This film was obviously sponsored by Mazda. And upon my research, I found that this sort of greenwashing they're using is surrounding fuel efficiency and efficiency in general, they claim. Although they have the right idea, like lighter materials and greater fuel efficiency and all that kind of stuff, I get it, like they were doing it in 2012. However, they can't really claim the claims that they made about being like the most fuel efficient, or that they should even be the car sponsoring the Lorax film. Like, I believe that it was pretty cheap of the filmmakers to accept Mazda as their sponsor. I think it would have been more realistic to choose, if it had to be a vehicle, choose the top ranking fuel efficient or efficient in general vehicles of that time. It definitely was not Mazda. I think that's kind of the problem I had with it. And they're just greenwashing you through this film. They're greenwashing the kids that are watching it, but it happens all the time. And I think there was no sense of accountability. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. So when the Lorax says, I speak for the trees have no tongues. Nature, animals, trees, they don't have a voice, they can't speak. So we need to take the responsibility to protect them, to speak for them. That responsibility is in our hands, and you should see yourself in the shoes of the Lorax, and you can be the Lorax. I think, to me, that's kind of the goal of the film, is to get the audience to really feel what the Lorax is feeling, and we all could be that little hero too.
Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not.